Okay. So welcome to the fourth session of the Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam with technology interludes for ages 8 and up. So in the last class, we covered we covered this sloka. Avikaraya Shuddhaya Nityaya Paramatmane Sadaika Rupa Rupaya Vishnave Sarvajishnave. So that's the sloka that we covered last time, and in this class we are going to cover the next sloka, which is yasya smaraṇamātreṇa janma samsara bandhanāt vimuchyate namastasmai vishnave prabhavishnave. This is the sixth sloka. Om namo vishnave prabhavishnave. Once again. Yasya smaraṇamātreṇa janma samsara bandhanāt vimuchyate namastasmai vishnave prabhavishnave. Om namo vishnave prabhavishnave. So what does yasya mean? Yasya means whose, right? Whose. Smarana means.
Does smarana mean memory? Because
smra is memory. Smarana, smriti is also memory, but smarana means something to do with mind still, but it is a thought. Yasya smaraṇamātreṇa. Matra means
doesn't
Matreṇa.
Mata means mother. Doesn't have anything to do with that.
No. In Indian language also matra is used. Adimatramu.
But only that.
Yeah. Only. So yasya smaraṇamātreṇa, just by thinking about whom. That's what it means. Yasya smaraṇamātreṇa. Only by thinking about whom. Janma means
birth or life.
Yeah. Janma is life. Samsara.
Samhara means to destroy.
Samhara is destroy. Samsara means?
The opposite.
No.
The same.
Yeah, in one sense, it's you can think of it as opposite. Okay, let us read the meaning. Bow I before him, the all-powerful Vishnu, whose mere thought, the mere thought of whom releases one forever of the ties of birth and life. Bow I before the all-powerful Vishnu. That is the meaning of it. So Janma, you're right, is life or birth. Samsara is?
Is it like Samastyam?
Samsara is like living or life, this world.
So the material world?
Yeah. It could also mean family. So Janma Samsara Bandha. Bandha means? Raksha Bandhan.
Raksha Bandhan is Rakhi when you tie the bracelet around.
So is it some kind of clothes?
Bonding thingy?
Yeah, bond.
Oh, Banda bound.
Yeah, Bandha bound. See, there's so much close relationship. So Bandha means bond. Bandhanat means?
Na means not, right? Not or helping.
Not. Bandhanat means all the bonds of birth and world. Vimuchyate.
Well, V means not, right?
Vimukti. So mukti, you all know, right? Mukti is nirvana, or reaching the God, right? No more births. So muchyate means, vimuchyate means you give up. Mukti means basically giving up.
So V is
So
helping.
vi is basically helping. Uchyate, vimuchyate. I mean, not uchyate, it is muchyate. Uchyate means speak, right? Muchyate means give up. So vimuchyate, namastasmai, namaha. Namaha means I bow, I pray.
Go down here.
Yeah.
yeah.
Namaha,
Namaste.
yeah. Namaha is na aham na mama. We talked about it before, right?
Not me nor mine.
Yeah, can you come closer? I think. Yeah, neither me nor mine. So that is namaha. If you reverse the word, what does it say? What does it sound? Namaha. Reverse.
Namaha.
Manaha. Right? If you reverse, ma becomes first and na becomes last.
Namaha.
So namaha is like reversing manaha.
Man
So
means
manaha means mind. So namaha is actually to do with mind, right?
But a mind is a bodily part, isn't it? The soul is the.
Yeah, mind, soul, they are I mean, sometimes interchangeably used.
Oh, brain.
Yeah, so namaha means like I bow down or I pray. Tasmai. Tasmai means that Vishnu. Tasmai. Yasya, tasmai. Yasya means whose. Tasya means his or theirs. So tasmai Vishnave, Lord Vishnu. Prabha Vishnave. What is Prabha? What is the meaning of Prabha?
It's like,
No. So you heard about Prabhakara, right? Did you hear the word Prabhakara anytime? No?
yeah, but I don't know what it means.
So where do you hear Prabhakara?
I also know that some people whose names are Prabha.
Yeah, some people's names are Prabha, right? So Prabhakara means who makes light. Prabha means light.
Oh,
Kara means do. So Prabhakara means who makes light. Prabha means light. So Prabha Vishnave means the brilliant Vishnu. Right? So what does that mean? The whole sloka. And Om Namo Vishnave, Prabha Vishnave. We are repeating this again to stress on that. So what it means is just the thought of Lord Vishnu will release us from all bonds of birth, life, the world, the family, everything. So we bow or we pray to such a Vishnu who is brilliant, brilliant Vishnu, the brilliant Vishnu. So that is the meaning. So we are basically praying to the brilliance of Vishnu that melts away all bonds. The radiation from Lord Vishnu, the light, the heat, the brilliance from Lord Vishnu melts away all the bonds. So just by constantly thinking about the God at all times, all bonds vanish and we are freed. See, you're all small children. You may not understand the meaning of bond and what it means. So bond is attachment, right?
Kama.
Yeah, it could be, it results in karma and all that. It's all entangled. The desire is entangled with attachment, which is entangled with bonding. So they're all together. So bonds will actually result in pressure on you. I mean, bonds are, you think, oh, I'm attached to my siblings, I'm attached to my parents. You think it's all good. But you'll understand that later on, that bonding will bring pressure on you. It's not a simple thing. There is positives and there is negatives, right? Okay, on a simpler scale, bonding. Suppose you are attached to something like a toy or something. If something happens to the toy, it causes you so much grief.
Yeah.
Right? So bonds will invariably result in grief sooner or later. So just by, for instance, another example. You have a family, you have kids and all that, and you have a strong bond with the family. And this is, it is relevant even today probably, but see, so many people are becoming jobless, right? They love their family, they love their kids. So many people are becoming homeless. See, the eviction ban is going to, it expired last month.
Eviction ban mean?
So eviction ban means, so because of coronavirus, the government decided that tenants who are renting the homes cannot be asked to go. Eviction means asking the tenants to leave, evict, empty. So government said that owners cannot ask the tenants to leave the homes.
So what if they don't pay their monthly fees or whatever?
The rent will still be due, but they'll have to pay sometime or later, sometime sooner or later. But they can stay in the house. So 6 months down the line, 1 year down the line, when they get a job, they can pay the rent.
Paid all?
Yeah, all the arrears can be paid, but they cannot be vacated. So that was the concept of eviction ban. The government banned evictions. So that ban expired last month, July. So they did something temporary, which is helping the tenants, because if the tenants are evicted, they become homeless all of a sudden, right? And imagine the plight of homeless. Suppose the person becoming homeless loves his children a lot, loves his or her spouse a lot, and they become homeless. So more than the suffering that the person undergoes because of becoming homeless, he or she undergoes more pain seeing their loved ones become homeless, right? So that is the bond. So there is a pressure on people. I mean, in one way it is good, but sometimes that pressure can be misused also. So there's pressure on people when they are attached. So there are a lot of problems with bonding, right? So you may not realize it now, but later on in future, you'll understand the pain that bonds can bring. You're too small to fully realize the pain, but bondage is pain in the future, basically. The bondage in this world is pain in the future. So, I mean, you can still do your duties unattached, without any bonds. but the society imposes some bonds. The law imposes some bonds. So that anyway we cannot escape. But at least from your inside, you can be unattached and still do your duty. Though the society or the law or other things can impose bondings on you, you can still perform the duties of the result of that bondage by remaining unattached, right? So you can still play, like for an example is you can still play with your toy, but don't get attached to it, right? You can do that, right? So you can still play with a toy. You can do whatever actions that you do with the toy, but don't remain attached. You can do that. So when you can do that with the toys that you play with, you can do that with this world that you play with also. I mean, you're just a player in this world. The only difference is with toys, you can do as you like. Of course, again, there also parents may say something. Suppose you drench the toy in the water and then start roaming around with the toy in the house, then the parent might get mad, right? Same thing with the society, the societal duties also. You're supposed to follow some guidelines. So you can still follow those guidelines and be unattached, just like you're unattached to the toy, right? So, but it is very difficult. With toys, it's easier. But with your family, with your so many things, including life and death, right? See, what does the Mrityunjaya Mahamantram say? Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyam Amrutat. So what it means is, I'll not explain the whole meaning, but essentially we are asking Lord Shiva. Urvaruka means like a, what do you call that? Melon, cucumber. So just like a cucumber detaches itself from its roots, from its tree, right?
It detaches itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it falls down.
Yeah, when it falls down. So just like a cucumber can be easily detached from its tree, oh God, please similarly detach us from death. We are attached to death.
That's why we fear it so much.
We fear it so much, right? That's the
Oh,
reason. Yeah.
We're bound to die someday.
Yeah. So we are asking God, Lord Shiva, to remove our bonding with the death. Urvarukam eva bandhanat. Iva means, like. Iva, we came across it. Urvaruka means just like a cucumber detaches itself from the tree. Urvaruka iva bandhanat. Bandha again.
Bandha means bond.
Yeah. So just like the cucumber cuts its bondage to the tree, help us, remove the bondage of us with the death. That's what is the Mrityunjaya Mahamantra. So death is a bondage, birth is a bondage, right? So just by, you don't have to do a lot of things. Imagine such a big thing, right? The bondage with life, the bondage. Why don't you want another life? We talked about it in the Bhagavad Gita class, I think, right?
Because life or birth isn't also good. There's pain in every step. Pain in when you're born,
Yes.
you cry. When you die, it pains.
That's
when you
right.
fall, when you get hurt, almost everything in life is pain.
Yes. So there's a lot of pain in life. So So that kind of pain, that level of pain. See, death alone, just see, birth also is painful. Birth is very painful, right? That's why kids cry. And death is even more painful. It is said that the pain is as much as, I mean, nobody knows how much pain it is.
Or if there even is pain.
No, there is pain. Yeah, or there is the.
But going to God wouldn't be as painful.
Yeah.
Unless you're reborn.
The pain could last for a brief moment also. I mean, we don't know, right? That brief moment of pain also is so horrible, so painful, that you wouldn't want that. So birth and death. So an analogy is given, right? Sometimes people compare death to thrusting a big tree into your throat. It is that painful. That's what people say. I mean, nobody knows, but some people say that. So death is painful, birth is painful, and just by reciting God's name, you will be free from birth and death. But it's not just reciting. Your thoughts, smarana is memorizing or thinking or meditating, right? So in Punjabi, you would have come across the name Simran. Did you come across the name Simran anytime? A lot of girls have that name, Simran. Simran is basically smaran.
Memory?
Yeah, memory. Simran is a very important concept for Sikhism also. Simrana. It basically means meditate. So just by meditating upon God, you are released of all bonds with birth, death, life, the family, the world, everything. See, what did Adi Shankaracharya say? Iha samsare bahu dukkhare. So this world, there's a lot of pain. Samsara means world.
And dukkha means sad.
Yeah, sadness. So there's a lot of sadness in this world. So that bondage to the world, to birth, to death, is all removed just by meditating upon God. That's the easiest thing, right? That's what we think. Just by constantly thinking about God. But to do that is a challenge for human beings, right? Because our mind keeps running here and there. In one of the Bhagavad Gita slokas, Lord Krishna compares our mind to a horse. Did we cover that?
Very fast. No.
Yeah, we did not cover that sloka yet. I think we will cover that sloka also, but he compares the mind to a horse. Horse runs here and there. It's very hard to control a horse, right? So, of course, with practice and all that, you can control a horse also. Same thing with the mind. Horse is very powerful also, right? So the power is measured in horsepower, right? You know that horsepower in your 7th grade and all that you will come across, 6th grade, horsepower. So you talk in terms of horsepower. So power, horse is a symbol of power.
It's also one of the most powerful pieces on the chessboard.
Yeah, it is also one of the powerful pieces on the chessboard. So mind is also very powerful, and controlling it is not easy. Controlling a horse is not easy. In olden days, that used to be a challenge actually to bring a horse into control. It's really wild, particularly wild horses.
Is that why horse riding is one of the most expensive things? Because it must be very hard to teach a child, which are already pretty hard to control, to teach an even more.
There are two things. One is controlling the horse, and the other is training the child or a person to ride the horse. So if you combine both, it is very difficult. A new horse rider, I mean, who doesn't know how to ride a horse, and a horse which was never ridden, which was never controlled. Both, if you mix, then it is almost impossible. So that's why what they do is they first train the horse. They first bring it into control, and then let the person or the child learn riding the horse. Then it will be easy. Yeah, you're right. Even if the horse is trained, riding a horse is not easy, right? And riding a horse which is not controlled is even more difficult. So mind is like that. It keeps running. So that is the reason why there are many methods to control the mind. Most of the practices in our Sanatana Dharma, which probably appear in other cultures also, help in controlling the mind. For instance, so why is mind powerful?
Because we can do almost.
It's a muscle.
And our mind can make us do anything.
Yeah, we can do anything.
Yeah, that's right. The thoughts are latent actions, right? Hidden actions. Thoughts become actions at one point of time. And what you think, that you become.
Yeah, our mind is like the king of our body.
Yeah. So mind is muscle, right? And that muscle has some special properties. It has neurons and things like that.
Protons.
Yeah. Electrons and protons is there in matters, in any matter, but mind particularly is powerful. So how do you, so to make it, to bring it in control, what can you do? Suppose there is a wrestler. He can fight anyone and anybody. Now you want to defeat him. What can you do?
Well, you have to practice a lot.
Or you practice skills just like this person did. Okay, and what else can you do? No, think about that person. How can you gain control of that person?
You can psych him out or like make him like
weak, right?
Yeah, you can make him forfeit.
So
before he even starts.
And you can also,
like in one of the movies, what is that movie? Russell Crowe. So there's a movie. I forget the name. The meaning of that word is human fighter. So in olden days, there used to be a game where human beings used to be used to fight with each other until one of them is dead. What is it called? Do you know?
Like they do in this Colosseum, or they used to do in this Colosseum.
Yeah, in the Colosseum, they sometimes they throw lions at them to fight. Sometimes people fight with each other. Wait, I'll tell you. Russell Crowe.
That's a really, really, really bad game.
That's why they stopped now, right?
What is that? Russell Crowe.
Why they even come up with it in the first place?
Yeah, it used to be a fun. It used to be a fun game for the kings.
Wait, the king's fighting or the king's watching?
Watching. They used to watch people get killed.
That's terrible. It's so rude.
Gladiator. That's right. It's called Gladiator. So in this movie Gladiator, so this hero, Russell Crowe, is a very strong man. And the king is weak.
So he fights the king?
So the king says, he announces, tomorrow I'm going to He is known as a very strong man. Right? I'm going to kill this guy. I
Why?
am going to place gladiator and kill this powerful man.
But that's impossible.
That's impossible, right? But you know what he does at the back end?
What?
He jails him. He puts him in jail.
And does it give him any food?
Doesn't give him any food. And then to top it, he takes a knife and digs a hole here and covers that chest with a armor, with a metallic armor, so that people will not be able to see. And then he calls him to fight him in the Colosseum. But still he gets defeated. He gets killed. This person kills the king, Russell Crowe. So now you tell me, how can you weaken a person, a strong person?
Well, I read this story, the Sun and the Wind. Basically, they're trying to get a man to take off his coat, and the wind pushes it to make the coat come off, but the guy just wraps the coat tighter around him. But the sun just nicely puts the rays on him, and he gets hot, and he takes the coat off.
Yeah, that's a very good idea.
The moral of that
So
story
yoga-
is gentle as
Yeah, yoga, that is the concept of yoga, right? Our yoga is like that. Yoga never forces anything on you. In fact, our Sanatana Dharma culture itself is like that. Force is completely absent in our Sanatana Dharma. There's no force. Everything is gentle and powerful. The power comes from the gentleness. That is what our Sanatana Dharma teaches. So now going back to our question of how to control the mind. Mind is a strong wrestler. It's like a wrestler, which is restless. Who is restless? This wrestler, this fighter or wrestler or boxer, he wants to fight all the time because it's powerful. Mind is like that. It is very powerful. So how do you weaken it?
Well,
Don't
you can
give it
tell
food.
yourself to stop.
Don't give it
Oh,
food.
Yeah.
Right? So that is where our culture of fasting comes from. Many cultures, I mean, not just Sanatana Dharma, but other cultures are also practice fasting, right?
like Ramadan.
Yeah, Ramadan. And what is it called in,
And during that Shiva festival.
what is it called? Christianity fast. What is it called?
Lent.
Lent, right. Lent is fasting. And then Jews also have this. Jews, what do Jews call it?
Lent.
Jews call it something, I forgot. Tanit. Jews call it Tanit. So every culture has this fasting. The fasting is meant to bring your mind in control. When the mind is weak, when the mind doesn't get enough food, then it becomes timid. And when it is timid, that's the best time to turn it towards devotion.
Oh, like when you're under pressure, when you only have like 2 minutes to prepare for your test, you prepare like really well.
Yeah.
And I have another question. Why is fasting bad for kids? I mean, health-wise it's bad, but otherwise it's good, right?
Yeah.
Because kids have like really can't control their minds since they haven't learned much.
Yeah, fasting is fine because it's just they have to grow.
Yeah, but
The kids are small, right? They cannot tolerate, they need food every 4 hours, ideally. But of course, sometimes it's not possible and kids are able to live for long even without food. But like when I was in 7th grade or 8th grade or 6th grade even, I used to fast for Shivratri.
that's really
My
bad.
neighbors and I used to fast for Shivratri. The whole day we wouldn't eat anything.
In honor of like Shiva.
Yeah.
for protecting us.
Yeah. So, but it is not always good for kids because kids are still growing and things like that. But yeah, I mean, fasting is prescribed in our cultures.
Fasting is like sleeping.
Yeah. So when you fast, the mind becomes weak. And when the mind becomes weak, that is when you take control of it.
But I thought when you're weak, you don't want to do anything. You just want to sit there.
So meditating upon God, you just sit and meditate, right?
Oh, right.
So that is why on Shivratri and on the days of fasting, you spend time meditating. You just don't spend time playing around. Anyway, you will not have energy to play. So that is there. You will not have time to think, strength to think about all nasty things.
But you
Like,
will have
oh,
time to think about good things either, right?
yeah, that's the best time to take control of the mind and just give it one word to meditate upon.
Rama?
Yes,
Krishna?
Rama or Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, any mantra, the mantra that is very close to your personality. So typically it is Shiva, Vishnu, Namo Narayanaya, anything that you have a lot of faith in, any mantra or any god that you have a lot of faith in. Our Sanatana Dharma has given you so many forms of God to worship. Yeah, to meditate. So choose the form that is closer to your heart and meditate. When the form is closer, when the name, when the characteristics are close to your heart, it is easy to meditate, right? Rather than meditating about something that is not close to your heart. See how our Sanatana Dharma is designed? There are so many gods where people make fun of us. You guys have billion gods, you guys have million gods, they make fun of us. But there are just in India, there's 1.3 billion people, right? And each person in this 1.3 billion population is different, right? Each person has his or her own way of thinking and likings and dislikes and all that stuff. So if you ask such different people to pray to just one kind of God,
Won't work out.
it may not work all that well. I mean, it will be kind of forceful. So that is the reason why our Sanatana Dharma has given so many forms of God for us to choose our own form that is closer to our personality, to our mentality.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you like in your head or mind think about only God, but what you're doing on the outside is something bad, like I don't know, yelling, shouting.
So that is the thing, right? So that is what it means. So it is smarana means it's not repeating the name. It is also thinking about him.
Yeah, but what if you think about him in head? Like you do everything about him in your head, and you do something you don't need to focus on in real life. Like you're just scribbling on a paper, but on the outside, not just sitting down and focusing.
It is still better. It is still better than just scribbling on a paper itself, right? So saying the name of the God is still better, but it is not 100%.
Yeah.
You will be free from all bonds when you are 100% focused on God. That's what this sloka means. So, and again, this doesn't mean that the law is not going to come after you or the society is not going to come after you. But what it means is, I mean, just because you can say, oh, I'm repeating God's name, and how come the owner is asking me to pay rent? I should be free from all bonds. How come I'm not free from the rental bond? How come the house owner is asking me to pay rent?
Well, because you're using the luxury.
Yeah, you cannot say that. So what it means from this sloka is your mind gets free, even if the other person asks you to pay. Like one of our priest, for a long time, our priest, he was our priest. It is very sad. He, for whatever reasons, I mean, priests get not a lot of money, right? So he had an ancestral home.
What does that mean?
His dad's or granddad's house. He was just living in that house. He was continuing in that house. Things were all okay. And suddenly, I mean, he doesn't earn so much money, right? So he did not even pay taxes, municipal tax. Every house owner needs to pay. In US, it's called property tax. I think in India also, it's now called property tax. I'm not sure, but the government collects, the municipality or the city government collects tax. So because he did not have money, it's worth, even during that time, it was in the center of the city. It is worth several millions, but he didn't know all these things. He didn't know about how to sell a house, how to do this. And then the house was in the name of his granddad or whatever. So he did not know all these things. And then one fine day, the government sent a notice, court notice to asking him to vacate the house.
What does vacate mean?
Leave the house.
But what would they have done with the house anyway?
They take it and sell it. That's what the governments in this country also do, right? So he did not have any pain. Every month he used to come to our home for a ceremony, for a ritual. And he just came, and I asked him, so next month I'll come to your home to remind you. Then he said, oh no, that home is gone. We are living in a small room. Don't worry, I will come myself. Then we asked him, how come you lost such a nice home? It was such a beautiful home in the center of the city and all that. Then he explained, see, I did not pay tax. And for a few years, the government took away. So what does that tell you?
He was kind of ignoring.
Yeah, he did not have any bondage. Even though, see, if it was any other person, he is a very spiritual person, right? So he did not even feel bad. He just said, God, it is God's will. God did not want me to live there. So I just vacated. That's it. If it was any other person in his place, they would have made such a big stink. They would have cried. They would have. So what does that tell you? Because of his spiritual nature, the bondage was absent. There was no bondage. He suffered. I mean, he went through a lot of problems because he did not live for long after that. He died after 1 year or something of that. See, to think of it also is so, it really melts my heart, right? He was a very nice person. So neither death nor loss of the house nor loss of dwelling, nothing disturbed him. So that is what is meant by getting released from the bonds. He did not have any bonds. It doesn't mean that there's no pressure on, I mean, the government is not going to come after you, or the society is not going to come after you. It doesn't mean that. What it means is your mind is free of all bondages, even the bondage of death. Even if death comes, you'll take it smilingly. So that's what it means. So you have to grow to that level, right? So that is, we were talking about fasting and things like that, right? So our culture helps you to control. Our culture has a lot of mechanisms to bring our mind to control. So one of which is fasting. So when you fast, the mind becomes weak. And if you notice, all the days of fasting are meant for devotion. Like Ekadasi is a holy day for prayers. Shivaratri is a holy day for prayers. Why? Why is it? Why do you combine prayers with fasting. Because yeah,
when you fast, your mind is weak, then you have more control over it, and it's easier to do. And
right,
if you do it once, it's easier to keep.
right, right. So that is the reason why in some countries there are holidays for on the days of fast, like Ramadan. In India, at least, during the month of Ramadan, the practitioners of that culture are allowed to leave early and things like that. So for devotion. So that is one way to control, right? So rituals. The other thing is, see, are you understanding how our Sanatana Dharma helps helps a person to become righteous? There are so many artifacts, so many mechanisms which make us a good person. All the rituals, all the concepts, all that help us, right? So the other thing our culture prescribes is strong faith in God's power. So everything you say, you accept it as God's will. So that faith in God, everything, every minute. So that helps you in this practice of repeating God's name, thinking about God's name all the time, and then practice itself. So in meditation also, initial 20 minutes, 30 minutes, it depends on the person. Sometimes some days you may not be able to meditate properly, but at some point of time, the ignition happens and then you continuously meditate. So practice helps. And then the other thing is good company. Our Sanatana Dharma prescribes satsangs, like groups of, like the one we are having now. Groups of good people sitting together and talking about good things. And that is the reason why some of the religious communities like ISKCON, right? You know about ISKCON, right? Krishna consciousness, the Bhagavad Gita that we talk about and all that. Yeah, so a lot of people who follow that faith, ISKCON, they marry among in the community itself. So one of my classmates, he was a very good family friend also. I mean, his dad and my dad were very close friends. He actually, his dad and he never believed in God, but he went to IIT, and I don't know what happened. He became totally devoted to Lord Krishna. He joined ISKCON, and he married a girl from that ISKCON culture. And now they lead a very simple, humble life. They don't touch money. They don't talk about money. They do their duties. They work. He's from IIT, right? IIT is the top institution in India for technical education. So they never talk about money. They never think about money. Money is there just to make a living for them. That's it. So what I mean to say is, even marriages, they look for good company. So that constant good company of the same kind of thoughts. So that is the other thing which helps, which our Sanatana Dharma kind of prescribes. Satsangs, right? And the other thing is Hari. What does Hari mean?
Ha is invoking all the bad things. V is like
removing. Right, exactly. So take it easy policy, right? Don't take anything to heart. Then that is one way of reducing the bondage. See, like the priest that I told you, he did not take anything to his heart. He lost his house. He lost his life after 1 year, or within 1 year, I think. He did not complain. He did not say anything. He just thought it's God's will. So take it easy policy. Always take it easy. Do not go to the extent of thinking about something for more than 1 hour. If you're thinking about something for more than an hour, you have to distract yourself. It is not good. So take it easy. because learning can be done, meditation can be done. So good things you can think about, but not the bad things, right? That which makes you sad. More than 20 minutes if you are thinking, then you should start trying to pull it back. You should start trying to get distracted from that.
It's trying to, oh yeah, trying to sleep is good because you just meditate.
Yeah. And then the food that we eat also plays a role. We should be eating sattvic food. Our culture prescribes sattvic food. So devoid of a lot of spices. See, when this coronavirus started, people who ate a lot of spices, particularly in South India, they were saying, oh, coronavirus cannot touch us. We eat a lot of spices. It doesn't dare to touch us. What happened? Within 1 or 2 months, it was the most impacted. South India was terribly impacted. So what happened to the spices? Nothing helped. Similarly, people who ate non-vegetarian meats, lot of meats and all that stuff said, oh, nothing is going to happen. We are eating meat. We'll become strong. I watched WhatsApp videos where the lady was shown cooking chicken and saying that, see, we are eating chicken these days more and more to avoid coronavirus. What happened? Nothing saved them.
Is there anything that can save them?
No, I mean, this is all fallacy, thinking that food can, tamasic food can help you. It's all fallacy. The truth is, first thing is we don't need a whole lot of food. And second thing is, the food should be healthy and sattvic, limited but fully healthy. Like fresh food, raw, eating raw vegetables, salads. So those kind of things are the most helpful, sattvic food. So that, so yeah, let us put it this way also, right? When you eat sattvic food, your mind, it is much more easier to control your mind because the muscle doesn't get that strong. It becomes more flexible, even if you think in terms of biology. When you eat sattvic food, the mind doesn't get it doesn't become stubborn, like it doesn't get all those protein, the bad protein, which makes it stubborn. So eating sattvic food helps in smarana. And then body control through yoga, right? Again, body is also full of muscles. Just like the brain is muscles, body is also muscles. So body becomes restless sometimes and things like that. So how do you bring the body to control? By yoga. Gentle poses which stretch the body and focusing on the body, limbs. You become much more controlled. See, some places, they hit each other. People hit each other. It is actually illegal, right? It's criminal. Hitting another person is illegal. But still in some places they hit each other. Why? Because they can't control reflexes. Why? Because their muscles are stubborn. Their body is stubborn. It doesn't listen to them. They know that it is criminal and they could go to jail for that. If the other party who was hit files a complaint, this person can go to jail. But still they do that. Why? Say I told you last class, I told you about a person who took a gun and shot his guest, right? So why did the person do that? No control. The body, the mind, no control at all. The muscles are so stubborn, right? So how do you get the body and mind into control? Through yoga, gentle poses with focused, gentle poses. Let us put it that way. So that will help you bring your body also under control. And then we have so many rituals. I mean, you know, Samaveda, Rigveda, they prescribe so many rituals, right? We talked about it. So the rituals are meant to help also to bring your mind into control. Rituals build the faith.
So traditions.
Yeah. When you, yeah.
Oh, like how on some days we're not supposed to eat meat. It's like mommy says it's like trying to make sure that you're like they do that to make like help you have control over yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So rituals, not only that, like Homa, when we do Homa, we become attached. I mean, we grow, our faith grows. We believe in God, right? We like to go to Homas, right? So rituals help in building the faith in God, and faith helps you focus better. And similarly, idols, images. In our homes, we have all these pictures of gods every room, right? Every room, every turn, there is a picture of God, right? Typically. Why? Because at every moment, you need to, the image is going to remind you of God and make you think about God. So that is another aid.
Yeah, like because you're supposed to think about God all the time. Focus about God only.
Yeah, so images help build faith. Idols also. There is some physics in idols, idol worship. We'll not go into that. But idols also help imprint images in your mind, images of the God, which will help you focus better, right? Rather than completely, you don't even have a clue about God, and if you have to focus on God, it's very difficult, right? I mean, how can you focus on nothing? You need some attachment, something, because our birth is basically of attachment. You need to get attached to something. Your mind needs to get attached to something. So the idols, the images, they all help build faith and help remember God. So, and this sloka says that if you keep thinking God, you become free of all bondages. You become free of all bondages means you become God himself, right? So it is often said that what you think, you become that. So you think only about God, you become God. So the Vishnu Sahasranamam is all about that, right? There are 1,000 qualities. You just think about these 1,000 qualities all day, then you become them. You become those qualities. All those qualities will get imbibed in yourself. Right? What you think, that you become. And repetition is key, right? In software, you're learning Python in the school and elsewhere, right? Not only Python, but other programming languages. So what is one of the common thing that you use in programming languages?
In Python.
Int, okay.
Printing, input, while, if and else.
Yeah, good. So one of the reasons we do programming is because there are repetitive tasks in this world.
Which robots can easily do.
Yeah, which machines and robots can easily do. So repetition is key in software, in machine learning, in artificial intelligence. A lot of things happen in loops. So loops are the strength of programming. So same with the human mind also. You keep thinking about God. It's one of the most important constructs your mind has provided to you. But of course, you should think good things. If you think bad things, then it can cause migraine, severe headache. Because when you think about bad things, your mind is constrained.
Oh, like when you finish crying, you kind of.
Yeah, biologically, the blood vessels get constrained in the brain. So thinking about bad things for long, repetitively is very bad. But thinking about good things, happy things which make you happy, and things which make you positive, stay in the positive realm. So you go to social media today, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, I don't know what new things come. So if you look at them, most of the people post only good things.
Yeah.
Do they post about bad things?
No.
Do they say,
And then like coronavirus and it's
yeah, even reviews, right? Product reviews. They write mostly good things. They want to stay positive.
If you have nothing nice to say, don't say it.
Don't say it. Yeah, that's right. That is the policy that many people follow. Right? So staying in the positive realm is very important. What you think, that you attract. So you talked about that businessman who said, oh, don't do that, and then hey, rat or something like that, and then he became a rat in the next life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what you think, that you become. So staying in the positive realm is important. That is the reason why we study all this Vishnu Sahasranamam, Bhagavad Gita, because so that our mind gets filled with only positive things as much as possible.
Are riddles and things positive?
Neutral, they are neutral. Learning, some are neutral, some are positive, but definitely negative is very harmful.
What about like learning, which is good, but about bad things? Like learning about heart attacks or something.
Well, you're learning how to avoid them, right?
Avoid them, yeah.
You're not
Learn
learning
it
how to
with
get them.
with the right perspective. If it is heart attack, then learn how to avoid heart attack.
But let's say if you watch a video on things that you shouldn't, that you can eat to make you get heart attack, you're doing both. You're learning how to avoid
Well-
heart attack and get heart attack. But yeah, I understand.
No,
It's your intention.
yeah,
You're trying
intention.
to-
Keep the
Yeah.
intentions positive. Keep the thoughts positive. Even when dealing with bad people, bad things. See, lawyers, right? They deal with bad people, bad things happening all the time. But they don't, most of the lawyers don't become bad. Right? How is that possible? That is the reason why they wear black coats to indicate that they are not attached, neutral.
Judges
Yeah.
always will
Yeah.
write or not.
Yeah.
I thought
So, yeah. Okay, I think we are out of time. So let us conclude here with our prayer. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya Om Shanti 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 Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu Samasta Sammangalani Santu. See you next